More at fault, Mac or Bill?
It's obviously the quarterback.
Wow.
And what I am really frustrated with, Coach, is this revisionist history we're doing on the entire Belichick tenure.
See, I agree with this.
The idea that, you look at his record with and without Tom.
Totally agree.
Guys, we watched those seasons. The first Super Bowl, Tom Brady was not Tom Brady.
So the Patriots season is already over. Going into week 6 in October. This is something that I've never experienced in my life. To be waving the white flag when it's not even sweatshirt weather yet. And so the national sentiment has been that Bill Belichick should be fired. That he's fully washed as a coach. And that the Patriots, need to move on. He's the reason they're in this spot. And so I disagree with that sentiment. I don't think that Bill Belichick should be fired. The problem is exclusively on the offensive side. And so the problem to me is that Mac Jones is literally the worst quarterback in the NFL. We're talking 32 out of 32 bad. Coming in his rookie year, he was supposed to be accurate with a good IQ. That was always his scouting report. He had a loaded offense at Alabama. But those two things seemed like a 100% guarantee. And it turns out, besides having a noodle arm and throwing up lobs, he has a very low IQ. His decision making is awful every game. And he's not that accurate. He's overthrowing, he's underthrowing. His body language is of like a kid getting pulled as a pitcher in Little League. Everything about him is bad, and he's a very bad representative of the New England Patriots. So in the offseason, you trade him. And look, he blows. So you're probably, if you're lucky, gonna get like a 6th or 7th round pick for him. A far cry from that first round pick that the Patriots used back in 2021. And so you know what you do after that is you bring in a veteran quarterback. I don't want to go back into the draft. I don't want to play this game. It's hard to hit on a quarterback. And so the quarterback that comes into my mind is Kirk Cousins, a free agent. And yeah, I know, we all watched quarterback. He's a little corny. Not the most inspiring guy, but he low-key over the years has always put up good numbers. So you bring him in and just have him run the Patriots system. Doesn't need to be anything crazy. Because I also think that Bill Belichick can't really develop rookie young talent anymore, especially on the offensive side. Do you remember, Brady's last season here, he was kind of unwilling to mentor the young receivers that he was stuck with. The N'Keal Harrys and the Jacoby Myers. You know what he wanted? He wanted Gronk, AB, Mike Evans. And Belichick, whether he realizes it or not, I think is at this same point in his career. He isn't trying to teach a quarterback in 2023 how to literally read an NFL offense. So Kirk has done it for a long time and he comes in. And the New England Patriots have $100 million in cap space this offseason. The most in the NFL. And so they got to spend like it's 2021. Except they can't be hitting on like a third of the signings. So they clearly need to bring in receivers. Veteran receivers for a veteran quarterback. T. Higgins. He's a free agent and I doubt that the Cincinnati Bengals are going to keep him. Quite honestly, watching Bengal games, I feel like he's slightly gotten phased out of the offense. At least that's early reactions from me. But you can't only have one. You need another receiver. So bring in the guy that I already mentioned that helped Brady when he left New England. And I'm talking about Mike Evans. He's a free agent and the Bucs were unwilling to extend him. So you bring in those two people. You know, get some offensive line help, some real offensive line help. Don't be patching it up. If it means high draft picks for a tackle, whatever. But don't be spending this money on long snappers and special teamers like Chris Board. They've added no value this season. And special teams in general isn't that important anymore. But that to me is the key. And whether people want to admit it or not, Bill Belichick still has a lot of cachet, and probably the only, cool thing about the present day New England Patriots. I mean, how many other teams have their coach as like the preview face when they're, showing coming up next, it's Patriot Raiders and it's Devontae Adams, and then Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick is an all-time great, arguably the greatest coach ever. And I still think players, at least on the defensive side, want to come to New England solely for him. So the easy and, in my opinion, lazy answer is just to, fire him. See ya, bring in Gerard Mayo or whoever. But what if after 2 years you gotta fire Gerard? It's not that easy. I am certainly not trying to have like 4 coaches in 7 years. A couple Jeff Fishers, couple 7 and 10 seasons, no way. You keep Bill Belichick. He's still a great in-game coach, especially on the defensive end. And this team is not talented. This roster is horrible. And Bill Belichick, the GM, has made Bill Belichick, the coach, his life very, very hard. And so have Matt Groh make the picks. Quietly phase Belichick out of that. That's fine. But I still want Belichick as the coach. It's the truth. And then Robert Kraft needs to spend some money. And not on a lighthouse. And on some, elaborate food system when you go into the cafeteria and they scan your face. So you, don't need your credit card. They're 31st in real cash. That has to change. In this offseason, you need to pay to play. The Brady years when you can get away with cheap contracts are long gone. You have to pay to bring in talent. And that, to me, is the blueprint, the way that we turn around the New England Patriots.